So I've taken my lens off the rig, and the first thing you'll notice is obviously we have a lens hood on the front. Now within my rig I had a piece of kit called a nicker. Now the purpose of the nicker is to stop any light spill rather, hitting the back of your square filters within the matte box. Now if you've used a matte box with like flat filters, you're not used to that kind of thing if you're taking digital stills, but what happens is the light will hit the back of the filter itself and give you a really nasty lens flare at the back, or make it very, you'll lose your contrast in a second. It's really not a nice look. If you're used to doing still photography and you have a filter on the front of the lens, you're just not used to seeing that, and that's one of the first things I noticed when I started to use a matte box with the flat filters. It became instantly obvious why you need to black the back of the actual matte box off. So to do that, they give you a nicker, and the nicker is all very well and good, but it relies on having something on the lens to attach it to. So for a 50 to work, what you need to do is you need to buy the lens hood, and this was labelled up as an ES62. It was an aftermarket or pattern piece. It didn't cost very much, it was an eBay special, a couple of quid I think it was. So that's your first tip. If you're going to use a Nifty 50 on a rig that has a matte box with the potential of using flat filters, buy one of these. You just can't use it else. And if I take it off, you'll see why. There's literally nothing protruding on the back of the lens at all. So once you have your focus gear attached, you just can't get to any part of the lens. So a bit obvious really, but buy one of them. If I disassemble what I've done here, I'll go through how I've used Velcro to attach my lens gear. And as you can see, I'm happy with that. It's not going to fall off. You know, it's about as sturdy as you're going to get a plastic lens to be. So let me disassemble it and I'll show you how I've done it. Okay, so we've got our plain lens, and as you'll all be aware, if you've tried to use a lens gear on of Nifty 50, you're always struggling to keep the gear on. It just doesn't go on. Now there's a couple of options. If you YouTube it or look on the internet, you'll find that some people put a large elastic band on there, and that helps, but it still doesn't inspire you with confidence. I've used it, I wasn't overly impressed. I didn't like it. So without anything on there at all, as soon as I apply any pressure, it falls off. So how do you stop it from falling off? You can buy a bit. There's actually a piece on eBay which is quite cheap, and it fits over the top and it clamps. Nice job. I haven't got one of them. What I've got is Velcro. So I've cut some Velcro, this is the hook side of Velcro, into very thin strips, about 3mm, just enough really to cover the actual the focus ring itself. So if I just put on my little bits, you could do this with one bit. I only had short bits that I found in the drawer, so I've done it with 3 bits. So I have my small bits of Velcro. I've then attached them to the lens ring, or the focus ring. Make sure the lens still focuses, which it does obviously. What I've then done is I've had the felt side of the Velcro but left it wider. Okay, and you want it to be wider because when I place it on here over the top of the hooks, I want the Velcro felt to go back in across the lens itself. And this is one thing I found to be quite beneficial. Because it goes back onto the lens itself, there's a little ridge on the lens, and because it goes back over that ridge, it gives it a little bit more security on there. So let me just take rid of that. I'll put another piece on. Job done. Make sure it's relatively flat on the front. There's a reason for that, I'll tell you in a second. And my third bit I should just put on like that. Lovely, so my Velcro is now attached to my lens. All I now want to do is attach the lens gear. Now, when you look at your 50, you'll know the 50mm is going to be at the very top once it's inserted on the actual camera itself. So bear that in mind when you're putting your lens gear on. So the way I do it is I spread my lens gear and make sure the 50 is over the top of the actual join. So for instance, I just drop my lens gear on there now. It's gone on nice. Just make sure it's quite lens gear straight, which it is. And I now know that when I insert that in my camera and put my bracket on the top, when I focus, the lens is going to take that joiner away from my follow focus cogs. Unlike a lot of Canon lenses, there's no soft stop on a 50. It is what it is. There's nothing flash in there. So if your lens is coming back towards the cogs, it's going to foul. So just make sure that it's going the right way and you've got enough room on the cogs. Once you've done that, you can then put your attacher or the latch on. Don't over tighten the latch because it's actually acting as a rubbing agent now. The felt is on the body of the lens, so if you apply too much tension to this one, it's going to make that's quite tight now, and that's going to be probably too tight. So we're going to back it off a bit and then we're all good. I've actually just put an elastic band around these once it's in there, just as a, I don't know, just to make me feel better, I suppose, kind of thing. And then it works really well as well. Make sure your lens gear is straight on the front, so when he's in the follow focus, the lens gear doesn't wobble. And job done. We're all good. On with the lens hood, if I can get it to catch on. Lens hood on, follow focus gear in there, drop it in the camera, job done. So that's the way I've attached a follow focus gear to a Nifty 50. Thanks for watching.